All right, so this chapter highlights Elisha's role as a prophet of compassion. Okay, through him, God provides for the poor, raises the dead, and feeds the hungry, showing his care for daily needs as well as his power over life itself. The first part of the chapter covers the widow's oil multiplied. A prophet's widow cries to Elisha, her husband's creditors coming to take her two sons as slaves. Elisha asks what she has at home. She replies, "Nothing except a little oil." Elisha tells her to borrow as many jars as possible from neighbors. She pours oil into them, and miraculously every jar fills until there are no more left. She sells the oil, pays the debt, and lives on the rest. Okay, so God provides abundantly, starting with the little we already have. The second part of this chapter covers the Shunammite woman's son. A wealthy woman in Shunem shows hospitality to Elisha, even preparing a furnished room for him. Elisha promises her a son. Though her husband is old, she bears a child the next year. Later, the boy dies suddenly in the field. The woman lays him on Elisha's bed and rushes to the prophet at Mount Carmel. Elisha sends his servant Gehazi with his staff, but nothing happens. Elisha himself goes in, prays, stretches himself over the boy and the child's knees 7 times, and opens his eyes. The boy is restored to life and returned to his mother. God honors faith with an hospitality with blessing, and his power over death is revealed through his prophet. The third part of this chapter covers deadly steel made harmless. During a famine, Elisha's servants prepare steel, but someone accidentally puts in wild gourds that make it poisonous. So the men cry out, "There is death in the pot." Elisha throws flour into the steel, and it becomes safe to eat. God's powers brings life if where there is death, even in ordinary food. The fourth part of this chapter covers feeding 100 men. A man brings Elisha 20 loaves of barley bread and fresh grain. Elisha tells his servant to give it to 100 men. The servant protests. It is too little, but Elisha insists. They eat and have some left. The men eat, and there is food left over, just as the Lord had said. This miracle foreshadows Jesus feeding the 5,000. God multiplies little to satisfy many, right? So continuing, what are the key lessons from this chapter? The first one is God meets practical needs, from oil for debt to bread for hunger. God cares about daily struggles. Second lesson, God has power over life and death. The raising of the Shunammite son, his authority and compassion. Yeah, the raising of the Shunammite son shows his authority and compassion. The third lesson is faith often starts with small steps. The widow's oil began with nothing but life. Final lesson, God multiplies what he offered. Just as Elisha fed 100 with 20 loaves, Jesus later multiplied bread for thousands, right? So Elisha performs 4 miracles of compassion, multiplying widow's oil, raising a Shunammite son, purifying poison steel, and feeding 100 men with bread. Through him, God shows he cares for his people's needs, has power over death, and provides abundantly.